everybody, and welcome back to the Shed of Dread. And before we get into some more information on that BBC pervert, you know, the one that won't be named, but of course, the Guardian haven't commented on this, because if it was the Guardian with this sort of information, they'll be naming them and getting them kicked out of everything and everyone and destroying their lives, you know, just like they did with Noel Clarke. But in any case, that's the Guardian for you. Lots of news on this. I know this is now my, third or fourth video on this, but this is important. This is something that needs to be commented on, because literally hour by hour, a bit more information comes out here, there and everywhere. So I've got 3 articles to go through. The last one was the one that's been done very shortly. So in any case, let's get to it. Right then, so this is the first one. Stripped half naked, the BBC man was on his sofa waiting for my child to perform. Mother of youth paid £35,000 for sex pics by famous host, tells of shock at seeing lewd images of a star, as man could face police probe. What do you mean could? Should. Under the Child Protection Act, it's illegal to hold images of anyone under the age of 18 if they're of a sexual nature. So not could, should. Over crimes carrying a 14-year sentence. That's, of course, if they do anything. Now, we still don't know what gender the youth is. We don't know whether it's a man or a girl, a boy or a girl, which would be that age. Not that it makes any difference, but clearly the youth was a troubled, vulnerable child who had a drug addiction, and it appears that this pervert has taken advantage of her. Let's carry on. Horrified mother told how she saw pictures of man in his underpants. Top BBC figures at BBC are publicly denying they're involved in the scandal. I wonder why. BBC presenter accused of paying a teenager more than £35,000 for sexual images should. They broke the law. Pure and simple. At the age of 17, holding indecent images is illegal. So not could, should. Irrespective of who they are, they should. I mean, at the moment, I'm sure Philip Schofield's loving this, because at least he's not in the spotlight for what he did. In any case, it's illegal. The alleged victim's stricken mother earlier told her she saw a photograph of the household name in which he was stripped to his underpants on his sofa in a video call with her child. She described him as leaning forward, getting ready for my child to perform for him, after he allegedly began sending requests for sexually explicit images to her child, who was just 17, therefore breaking the law. It's as simple as that. Look it up. It's illegal. The presenter, who's not been named, why not? He's said to be on a 6-figure salary. Why has it not been named? Now, a lot of people will go, oh, yeah, it says up here, by the way, there's breaking news about him being suspended, but we'll cover that in another one. Right, so, 6-figure salary, does it make any difference? It doesn't make a difference if they're on a 5-figure salary. They're a dirty pervert who's taken advantage of a 17-year-old vulnerable child and made them produce explicit images, which is illegal in this country. You can't do that. Any case, but it has been reportedly taken off air pending an investigation. Well, we'll stop there, because, as it says here, they've actually suspended them. We'll go back to the original one. But top lawyers have warned he should face a lengthy police investigation over potential criminal behaviour. Now, look, just to confuse, to sort it out, the short answer is yes. It is illegal to hold sexual images of a 17-year-old. Yes, the answer is yes. Under the Protection of Children Act in 1978 and the Criminal Justice Act in 1988, taking, possessing or sharing sexual images of a person under the age of 18 is a criminal offence. So, because some people are going, I don't get it. There you go. It's as simple as that. Yeah? If you take, possess or share sexual images of any person under the age of 18, it is a criminal offence. So not could, should be arrested. Now, loads of as it says here, under the Protection of Children Act 1978, and I've just shown you on there the other one as well. It is an offence to make, distribute, possess, or show indecent images of anyone under the age of 18, even if it was created with a young person's consent. That's very important. But this one was somebody who clearly had a drug problem and was taken advantage of by a little scumbag. It's also a criminal offence to ask children under 18 to send sexual images of themselves, and causing or inciting sexual exploitation of a child carries a maximum penalty of 14 years in prison. They can try and sit on this as much as they like. It's coming out, and the dick that did this deserves to be thrown in prison. Making or possessing indecent images carries a maximum sentence of 10 years, potentially 24 years in prison. The teen's mother told The Sun last night, and before we go any further, I've heard this, well, how young were the women posing in page 3 in The Sun? They're two completely different things, and if you're saying that, trying to use that as a defence, you need to take a long, hard look at yourself in the mirror. You really do. They're not the same thing. She used to love watching this presenter, but was left shocked to see a photograph of him in his underwear on a sofa in his house while looking at her child's phone. Apparently also, these pictures and these things have also occurred while whoever this is, was at work for the BBC, in BBC property. I immediately recognised him as leaning forward to get ready for my child to perform for him. My child told me I've shown things, and this was a picture from some kind of video call. The presenter is now off air but has not been suspended. Well, he has just, and it's only just broken. Remembering that they knew this for months. Months and months and months. We'll get to something in a minute, in any case. Well, So he has now been suspended. Despite BBC guidelines that state any staff member accused of a serious breach of conduct is immediately suspended. Or told they can never work for the BBC again. And when, that's fine. The star is also said to be paying his full six-figure salary while the BBC investigates the shock allegations. So he's sitting at home, laughing his arse off, getting paid, and hopefully trying to get away with this because the BBC aren't going to do a proper investigation. It was also revealed on Saturday night that the presenter allegedly attended an awards ceremony, and that's where we're going to go now, in a minute. We'll leave that. Yeah. The alleged money victim's mother said the family complained to the BBC on May 19th and asked for the presenter to be told to stop sending her child money. But she believes nothing was done, and the said man continued to send cash as he remained on air. I do have to ask the question why they didn't go to the police. If it had been my child and that had happened, that's the very first place I'd have gone. Straight to the police. But one of the country's top lawyers has questioned why they did not act sooner. Nazir Azal, who's also been on telling people exactly like I did in my short, be careful who you throw your accusations around with, who prosecuted the Rochdale grooming gang, told the Times last night he was surprised that the person was not suspended at once because the BBC, very good, Rolf Harris, Jimmy Savile, are hiding these things. I mean, lots of things didn't come apparent at all. Became aware of the gravity of the allegation. He continued, the police should have been engaged as soon as they worked out whether the complaint was genuine. Where are we now? Mid of July? 6 or 7 weeks on. The BBC were fully aware that this was happening 6 or 7 weeks before the Sun broke the paper. And as we jump to the next one, the BBC presenter who paid teenager £35,000 for sexually explicit pictures partied with bosses at an awards ceremony after mother made complaints as the corporation comes under mounting pressure from MPs over the handling of its scandal. He doesn't want to know. If it can swipe it under the carpet, it will. He reportedly drank Shane and dined with execs after the allegations surfaced, and the BBC just went, don't worry, we'll get rid of this. Top figures of the BBC have been publicly denying they're involved with the scandal. Yet, but I would imagine you know exactly who it is. Because a lot of people are coming forward and now saying, we know who it is, and we're not going to say anything, obviously, because you can't, because of legal things, but we know who it is. Yeah, insiders claim that the host enjoyed a champagne reception and a 3-course meal alongside senior executive weeks after the alleged victim's mother complained to the network. A fellow party guest told the Mirror it was astonishing that someone facing such serious allegations could attend the event, adding, if this man was aware of what was hanging over him, he certainly didn't show it. No, because he'd been told by the BBC that they could sweep it under the carpet. The presenter, who has not been named for no reason, is as being well known, allegedly began paying the teenager when they were 17 and sent them money which they used to fund their addiction to crack cocaine. So whoever it was found this teenager. We don't know whether it was a male or a female. Doesn't matter really. But, don't know who it is. Who are vulnerable and weak and desperate for cash for their cocaine habit, and used and abused that child to get what they wanted so they could get that. It's disgusting. The lurid speculation was sparked by a newspaper report that the youngster's family had complained about the behaviour of a household name 7 weeks ago, but had been unhappy with the BBC response, because the BBC loves hiding things under the carpet, because they will never admit that clearly, we're starting to get a track record here, shall we say, disgusting and paedophilic and disgusting behaviour seems to be rife at the BBC. In fact, it seems to be rife in every organisation in the TV and movie industry, but allegedly, by the way, that's speculation, not me saying that for definite. I'm not going to get sued over this. The presenter has reportedly been taken off the air pending investigation, but it is said to be known to millions of people, and we've gone over the police, over the potential sentencing. It comes as senior MPs are putting pressure on the BBC to reveal how they handled the allegations made against the host. They did what the BBC does best, just pretended it didn't exist. This is just going back. This bit here is just going back over, and then just in the last 20 minutes, breaking on Sky News and everywhere else, the BBC has suspended the presenter accused of paying the team for sexually explicit photos. Hadn't and didn't until it all hell broke loose on social media, and people like myself and other people have started doing videos on it, and everybody's starting to comment. Not before. Not when the family said, look, here's a picture of your dirty little presenter. This needs to stop. No, now, today. The BBC has suspended the unnamed presenter. Now listen, everybody else who's been suspended, remember the CBI guy or anyone like that? They've been named. It's been named that they've been suspended, and it's been named that the reason why they've been suspended. Now, as much as I don't like certain people who are being bandied around, Mr. Lineker, etc., the simple truth of the matter is the BBC has a duty of care to those stars who are not involved to name who it is, so everybody can stop blaming and accusing other people of it without any evidence or, So this is why I did that video in the short saying be careful, because it's not really fair. Imagine if, take a moment to be in their shoes. You've done nothing wrong. This comes out and immediately those people who hate you for whatever reason take to social media and say it's you. But that's the BBC's fault. Duty of care, BBC. You should be protecting those who are not involved by naming who it is. And that, therefore, would immediately take all the pressure off everybody else. But, of course, you don't want to do that because I think as it is, and if it is who I think it is, people are going to be very, very shocked. In a statement, the broadcaster said it takes allegations seriously. No, it didn't. It waited 7-8 weeks before it did anything and has robust internal processes in place to proactively deal with such allegations. But you didn't do anything for 7 weeks when the allegations arrived, did you, BBC? No, you've hoped it would disappear, but unfortunately it's got out and now it's on social media. The pressure is mounting. The BBC website reported the corporation has been in touch with the police in addition to its own inquiries. And the police should be arresting that person because, as we've covered before, it is illegal to do what they did. The corporation said that while at first it was made a complaint in May, new allegations of a different nature were put to it on Thursday. No, they weren't. It's the same one, except, of course, the media, other than you, got in hold. The papers got hold of it, and once the papers got hold of it, it was out on front page news, and then social media got hold of it. And once social media get hold of it, you can't keep the genie in the bottle. And I'm telling you now, it won't be long before somebody figures out who it is and announces the name. In addition to its own internal inquiries, it has been in touch with external authorities in line with our protocols because your fund has been forced. If this hadn't gone anywhere and the family hadn't said anything or anything like that, you'd have sat on this. It's just because you got caught. We can also confirm a male member of staff has been suspended. How long did it take you? Exactly, you dirty defund the BBC. They want to raise the flipping licence fee. What, to pay? Not for the programmes, because you just produce junk now. I mean, even bloody EastEnders is about to go down the toilet pan because of its wokeness. But no, what do you need more money for? I think it's to pay more people off, to try and hide your sordid secrets, because you're not producing any decent TV anymore. It's important that these matters are handled fairly and with care. They weren't for 7 weeks, though, were they? Corporation said it was expected to be able to provide a further update in the coming days. No, now. You protect those people who are being accused of it when they haven't done it by giving us the name now. In an email to staff, Director General Tim Davies said the BBC was taking the allegations incredibly seriously. Well, we are now because everybody knows about it, but for the last 7 weeks we've done diddly squat. Fuck all, shit all, nothing, not a damn thing. He added, by law, individuals are entitled to reasonable expectation of privacy. What about Noel Clarke? No, come on, answer that. You cut ties with him based on him. You didn't have any of his privacy at all, which is making the situation more complex. Bullshit. You could name him. And I know everybody probably go, oh, you're harking on about Noel Clarke, but you have to look. This is a parallel. He was named instantly. He was told by the BBC they'll never work with him again, without zero evidence, without going to court, with nothing other than what the Guardian produced. Nothing. No actual evidence. Nothing criminal. Didn't go to the police. And you destroyed his career and named him instantly. All of the media organisations did it. So why is this person like, by law, individuals are entitled to reasonable expectation of privacy? Well, you hung Noel Clarke out to dry, didn't you? Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. I'm sorry. It's not making it more difficult. I mean, let's be honest, you know, when they did the search on Cliff Richard's house, didn't take you long to announce that, did you? Didn't be entitled to his privacy. He had fucking drones over his house taking pictures and filming it. And he was named. With zero protection. This is utter bullshit. So that just shows you how householdy and important this person really is. I also want to be very clear that I'm wholly condemning the unsubstantiated rumours that made on the internet about some of our presenting talent. Then name the person. They would get no flack then, would they? But no, due to your care to your other presenters, why are you so busy protecting somebody who's clearly committed a criminal offence by allowing other people to abuse people, other presenters? And I agree, you shouldn't. I've said it, and I said it, you've got to be careful what you say. I can condemn people throwing rumours around about people, but that's the BBC's fault. Because the BBC is scrabbling now, trying to get something sorted because they know they're in the shit now. This is yet another screw up by the BBC. We are in contact with the family referenced in the media reports. I want to assure you that we're working rapidly to establish the facts. Or in other words, seeing how quickly we can get rid of them. Earlier, Lucy Fraser, the Culture Secretary, said the BBB, the BBC, was acting swiftly and sensitively. No, they weren't. They knew about it 7 weeks ago, and they've only started to do something because it broke onto social media. Liars. Mind you, you're a politician, what do you expect? She's spoken to Mr. Davey on the phone. Ms. Fraser wrote on Twitter, given the nature of the allegations, it's important that the BBC is now given the space to conduct its investigation, establish the facts, and take appropriate action. Again, how many times has this happened? Yeah, so now they can. No, they're not giving the space. See, like, here, give them the space. Why? They're only shitting themselves because we all know now. Because the internet's alight with allegations and spurious claims. They knew. They sat on this for 7 whole weeks, ladies and gentlemen. And they're only doing it now. Why should they be given space to conduct their investigation? That investigation should have been done 7 weeks ago. he should have been suspended 7 weeks ago. To turn around and say that the BBC acted swiftly and sensitively is bullshit. Massive bullshit. Right, that's the end of those articles. So, as I sort of bring it to a close, remember, is it illegal to hold sexual images of a 17-year-old? The short answer is yes. Under the Protection of Children Act 1978 and the Criminal Justice Act 1988, taking, possessing or sharing sexualised images of any person under the age of 18 is a criminal offence. This happened when this child, not sure whether it's male or female, was 17 years old. They broke the law. The BBC knew about it. They sat down and had a champagne dinner with him and ate food with him, knowing it was coming, and pretended that hopefully if anyone just keeps it quiet, no one will notice. She didn't go to the police. I don't understand why, but she should have in any case. So she went to the papers, the mother, and got it out. And as soon as it hit the front page of the papers, the BBC shit itself. And is continually doing that, even with, I mean, it's like they said on there, growing pressure from MPs. No, MPs going, oh, just back off. Leave them alone for a moment while they do their investigation, which they should have done 7 weeks ago. The BBC is just like any other organisation at the moment. Yeah, they're full of dirty, perverted, sick individuals who are paid, in this case, a 6-figure sum by the people who buy the TV licence, because we have to have one apparently. So this is what we're paying for, is it? So, I mean, you know, £35,000, technically some of that's my money. And you've spent it on, well, degrading a poor child. Any case, I'm finished with this one. As always, social media up above. You know what to do by now. Like, share and subscribe. And if you have done already, thank you so much. It is very much appreciated. If you do hit the subscribe button, don't forget to ding that little bell and select it to all, so you know you get a notification from YouTube that I've done another video. And with that, I'm gone. And all I have to say left is what you should know by now, which is, please, just get out of my shed.